Welcome everybody back to an episode of the Net LOL podcast. It is 2023. We're incredibly happy to be here for yet another year, thanks to you, our wonderful listeners. I'm joined, as ever, by Kyle Mestry and Tom Nadeau. Hey, guys.
Howdy. It's been a while.
That's right. We're excited to get back in the saddle in 2023.
Absolutely. Yes. If we still have jobs, either because the tech industry is going to implode or ChatGPT is going to take them all from us. So
I think our other co-host has taken the right approach. He's off taking care of his new kid.
Priorities in order. Which is a fantastic segue into the biggest thing that has hit the industry this year, which has to be, without a doubt, ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Another day goes by without another news article and yet another thing that ChatGPT can do. So do we still have value as human beings in the tech industry, or are the machines coming forward?
I think so, from what I can tell. I've played around with it for a couple hours last week and just tried to get it to do some of the non-obvious stuff, like write me a song, write me a blues song. Okay, it can do that. Write me a script to troubleshoot my network today. Good luck. I don't think so just yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, should network engineers worry about this? Is it going to replace them? Can it configure all your equipment for you? You just there you go. I mean, I don't know.
Sure. I think people are thinking about it for sure. I mean, like I was saying, I have customers asking about this, but more in a curiosity kind of way. Is it possible?
I think what's really interesting, having experimented with it, is that there are two things. One, you have to get very good at prompting. So it is a language model, so therefore you need to try and phrase your question in a way that it can understand, and you give it absolutely explicit detail on what you need to do.
Yep.
The second thing is it's been trained on stuff that was written by humans. So there is that human error, which is inherently built into the model, which is hilarious, because we all know how the top-ranked answer on Stack Overflow isn't necessarily the right one. Well, there's a whole bunch of top-rated answers in Stack Overflow.
But it's the most popular one and most rated. So here's the flaw in the machine learning, right? That gets the most score, and that's the preferred.
And it's confidently wrong. That's
exactly.
A quote from our from engineers that have used it internally where we are in our internal chat channels. And it's like that. It is confidently wrong. It will tell you that here is the solution. You're like, damn, this is amazing.
Well, I had to generate some code for me. I just said, write me a binary search in C. And I think and it looks like it's, yes, for stuff like that, it's basically instead of cracking open a textbook, there's a valid example. Digging a little deeper into that, give me a, hash process, hashing algorithm that, processes tokens for doing, writing my version of ChatGPT, for example, give me a command line processor type thing. That was not what I thought would, what the hype is saying. It, it just comes out ready, ready made. It's not that easy. It's not that uniform yet, if ever.
It's like coaching a junior engineer. That's the fun I've been having with it. It's okay, so I've got this problem, and I would like you to have a stab at solving it. And I'm like, well, that's a good stab at solving it. But what would happen if you tried doing this? And it will tie itself in knots. I got it really confused about doing fun stuff like modular operations and floor division in Python, and it was just spitting out complete garbage. I'm like, nah, I can see why you've done that, but I can also tell you why it's wrong.
So that's there's a lot of people that have over-rotated on this thing. And you could see, did you see that article this week about how ChatGPT is now past the first level of Google's interview questions? I think that says more about their interview questions than about the efficacy of ChatGPT. It's, ChatGPT is just scraped.
That's a different show entirely, the Google interview process, right?
Yeah.
But
you know what I mean?
But it's true. It's true, right?
A genie engineer in a bottle is what people think
right
now, and it's not.
That's
No,
right.
it's a pattern recognition engine. It's like the infinite memory of the internet and having fast recall. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. I can pull something up really quickly, and then I can move on,
ChatGPT
and
would
I
be
can use this
awesome on
to
Jeopardy, right?
Well,
well,
well, well, and like you said earlier, it's like the internet. You pull it up quick, may not actually be accurate, but it'll get there really fast.
You
So
got bad information quickly, right? Right.
that's right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing
Yeah.
that kind of worries me about the whole thing is that the hype clearly doesn't match the the reality of the tool. Although it's interesting if you ask the tool, if you ask ChatGPT, will you ever replace a human? Try it.
Right.
It actually correctly says, no, I will not. I'm really a tool that you should use. Yes, it's already baked in there a little bit anyway. But I just, from what I've seen, it's not what I think it is.
Yeah. So it seems like our conclusion is, the network engineers don't quite have to worry now, but maybe this is another tool they can put into their tool belts in terms of, with what other existing tools they have. It's something they should be aware of because it might be useful down the road. Even now, it might be useful, and it may get
Well,
better
not just
as time
useful,
goes
but
on.
they need. I telling my son is in computer science and doing this sort of thing that we're doing. We were talking about this the other day, and I said, that the analogy here is that ChatGPT is really like a calculator, right? You weren't allowed to whip your calculator out for a physics exam because you needed to understand what you were doing. Later, you can take a shorthand with a tool, i.e. a calculator, and get the same answer, but you'll understand. It is like what you were saying earlier, Dave, like the most popular answer is not the right answer necessarily. And it's a kind of an analogy, like being able to recognize that and understanding. You only recognize that it's wrong if you understand. You can't just let the machine blindly drive, because it's not going to always be right. So understand what you're doing. And back to your thing, Kyle, about network ops, this is a tool, but you should know how to configure your network, that's
right.
it's no replacement for human experience because you still need to be able to ask it. You could not just be a manager and say, I'm firing all my operations engineers and show up and ask ChatGPT.
They let the manager configure the network, right? Yeah, good luck.
Yes, of course I can. Tell me specifically what you need me to do in excruciating detail. Oh, I can't do that.
The final conclusion from Dilbert, pointy hair manager runs the network too. He fires Wally and Dilbert and runs the show. Not going to happen.
Not for a long
Soon,
time.
for sure.
So yeah, jobs are safe. It is a great calculator, like an abstract calculator. I've used it for dumb stuff like, oh, can you tell me what this is in base 64? Or can you decode this for me? Or can you take this JSON data and turn it into XML? And all of the dumb stuff where you probably just open up a web page because it's quicker than remembering how to do it on the command line. It's handy for that type of stuff.
But, yeah, it's like a shorthand to a search, basically. Yeah. It's But even that is not as robust as the popular searches that are out there today that everybody uses. They can still generate some very apropos and relevant information and quickly. So there's still a ways to go on that thing, but it's a fun tool to play with right now. I guess the question I'd have too is around it is what are the data sets that they're using to train it? What's the breadth of information? Are they just saying go to Stack Overflow and eat everything you could find down there, and then that's your knowledge? Because like you were saying, Dave, the top post on Reddit, Stack Overflow, all of these popular sources aren't always right.
Yeah, and there's the whole open source licensing question that comes into all of this of like, if you're scraping all of this code off the internet, how long until it decides to go and scrape some GPL code? And then what happens when it doesn't appropriately, tell you that code is GPL and you decide to go and use it?
Copyright is maybe lost when it's just taking snippets out and finds a few things out of a pattern, or even, I've had this conversation with some legal type folks about what happens if that happens, right? If you have a patented algorithm and this guy takes the code and starts sending it around, that's not a violation in any means of the patent. But if you're back to network operator, your manager running, the manager of the ops running things, well, get me an algorithm for, doing testing validation of, high-speed Ethernet ports, blah, and it pops up the whole thing, and off you go, and you start using that commercially, that might be a problem.
Well, so yeah, I think in conclusion, ChatGPT, great tool. There be dragons, but we're still going to be gainfully employed as human beings for the next while, at least until the machines take over.
I think so.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, this has been a short episode of the Net today. We're trying to keep them short and sweet, crank out as many as possible, keep you all engaged. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you continue to listen, and we will see you all on the next one. Thank you very much.
Keep on listening. Thanks, folks.